story first on Fox 61. A bizarre arrest in South Windsor after police say a man attacked another person with nunchucks. That man, 34-year-old Maximum Elby, a truck driver from California, was arrested for the incident in South Windsor Wednesday night. Fox 61 was the only one in court for his arraignment. Jill Konopka live right now with the details surrounding this case. Jill.
Jen, according to court documents, the suspect, an out-of-state truck driver, got upset with an employee and a manager here, in South Windsor over the time it was taking to process shipment paperwork for a delivery that he was picking up for his particular truckload. That is when South Windsor police say this assault occurred. They also say that they found swords in his vehicle.
Days away from the business as well as the victim.
A no-contact order issued against truck driver Maximum Elby of California. The 34-year-old facing a judge in Manchester Superior Court after an alleged assault Wednesday outside the Mobis Parts America. Court documents describe Elby getting upset over the time it was taking to process shipment paperwork because he, quote, didn't want to wait and needed rest.
The defendant has no ties to the area. These are serious charges. I said wait.
The state does have concerns. Does appear the defendant went to a business, started an altercation with the individual, produced wooden nunchucks from his pocket and struck the individual in the head 3 times with it.
The California truck driver also accused of punching that same Mobis manager in the face. Judge Peter McShane found probable cause for charges of illegal possession of a weapon in a motor vehicle, carrying a dangerous weapon and breach of peace, as well as 2 assault charges.
Vehicle officers also noted 2 swords as well as knives, martial arts weapons, as well as an additional knife in a sheath.
Ongoing court disruptions continuing before bond and a new hearing date were set.
These are serious charges. The court is going to set bond the amount of $150,000 cash or surety. I'll hold off on a 54-56D at this time.
I'm supposed to pay something I can't pay because y'all stole my ancestors' stuff, and you know it.
Case is continued until July 1st.
You're going to be going for charges for that. For perjury and treason against an American national, and you know I'm an American national, and you know that you're a foreigner.
Now, there were likely a half a dozen court interruptions today. We did try and reach out to Mobis by stopping at their facility in South Windsor. We were told to contact their office in California. We have left messages and are waiting to hear back. We're live in Manchester. Jill Konopka, Fox 61 News.